How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Stacy?
I'm doing well. How are you? How's everything going with you? You getting stuff done?
Oh yeah,
I know it's like crazy right now.
wonderful.
What about you, Andrea? How are you doing? Quiet. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna get started because we only have an hour. I want to get into how to find self-storage. Okay, so I actually just got back from Texas. And I spent 15 days there, and we are going to expand into Texas. So I was basically there doing market research. And I'm originally from Austin, and so we went back to go visit friends and family and stuff like this, just hang out for a couple of weeks. But really, the main reason I was there is because I wanted to do market research and try to figure out, if I should buy or build or what type of facility I should buy or something like this. So I went to Texas, and we stayed I don't know if anybody knows Austin, if y'all know the Austin area or not, but we stayed in Lake Travis area. I'm really, really interested in doing boat and RV parking. I've been talking about doing boat and RV parking for the last couple of years, but we do parking, but this like the storage plus parking, and I just want to do a parking space on its own. But so what we did is we stayed near Lake Travis, and we traveled all around Lake Travis. I'm going to show you all today kind of what I did and how I did it, so that you guys can just get an idea of if you're truly interested in self-storage investing. I'll at least give you a couple of ideas of how you can find some storage facilities, right, to look at and stuff. And that's what we did, is we just did market research, trying to figure out, if we can find storage facilities to buy. How much would they be? What's the typical prices? Land is expensive in Texas. Everything's expensive in Texas right now. And also, like, if we should build or not build, or like, is there too many? Is it oversaturated? Basically in self-storage investing, all of the facilities, all of the primary markets are saturated, right? So Austin, like, all the main cities, Austin, they're all saturated. Like, you really don't want to be investing in primary markets unless you're like a REIT or something like that, and you have a lot of money, and you're like, you could just spend the money and then, like, do whatever you want. But us little people like me, what we do is we go out to the place that I want to buy, and I'll just check around and see kind of how the market is, and that's kind of what I did. So I'm gonna pull up Google Maps, okay. And this is exactly what anybody else can do too, just so you can see whether or not, like, or how to find storage facilities. This is exactly how we find storage facilities. This is exactly how we find them. So, what did I do? Austin, Texas. I was in Austin, and we stayed actually in the Hudson Bend area. So here's the lake, right? You see Hudson Bend is right there. That's where we stayed. So here's Lake Travis. So here's all of Austin. All this is all, and it's all saturated right here. Like, you don't want to be focusing on this area. This area right here, this would be considered like a primary market. All right. And basically primary markets are just oversaturated, too expensive. Cap rates are super low. It's just not a good place to be buying. It's really not, And so we wanted to get out into the secondary market. Even right here, all the way through here, this would really be considered a primary market. And I wouldn't consider it a primary, I consider it a secondary market, but almost a primary market. So Austin essentially is moving out, right? It's moving outwards, especially over in this area. It's kind of getting more and more full. And you can look at this in any type of market that you're in, depending on where you're at. This is how you would look at your market, okay? And so when you come into Google Maps, you'll look at the market, and obviously you'll see where all these gray areas are. That's where, like, the growth is happening. This is like the primary market. This would probably be considered, this is considered a primary market as well too. If you see, like, if you're in any area and you see CubeSmart or Public Storage, or let's see, CubeSmart, Public Storage, Extra Space, that kind of stuff, then most likely it's a primary market, right? Or it's a primary to secondary market, because most of these, like, huge big hedge funds and stuff like that, they're definitely not going to go into tertiary markets. All this green, right? This is all tertiary markets, all this green right here. And that's where I focus. That's where I focus on, is tertiary markets. Why? Why do I focus on tertiary markets? Because that's what I can afford, right? Because I'm not like, I don't have lots and lots of money. We are in the process of doing a fund, but even that fund, I'm only going to be buying in tertiary, like secondary to tertiary markets. There's so many storage facilities out there anyways. So, it doesn't matter where you buy, you're gonna make some money, because there's a lot of great buys and great opportunities for even building as well too. Because it's a big spot on. So basically what we did is I just said, okay, well, I know that I want to do mostly boat and RV parking, right? So if you look, like, here's the Austin area, and this is like, I was like, I know there's like a lot of water going, like, from here all the way up to Lake Buchanan. So this whole area, right? And then there's a huge lake down here. There's a lot of little tiny lakes, but this is kind of like the main area that we focused on. And so I was like, well, I know we're going to be focusing on this area, so let me just find some place to stay. And so we stayed in an Airbnb in the Hudson Bend area, which I would consider a primary market. Mostly this area right over here. This is all primary market. What you could do is just come into Google Maps and look up storage in the area. I'm just searching, because essentially what's going to happen when people need storage, what do? They just go to Google Business Listing. And on Google Business Listings, they just say storage near me. That's what they do. So this is what's going to pop when they're in the area. This is what's going to pop up. This is how it's going to look. And this is how Google Maps works. And Google Maps is like the #1 fastest growing search engine in the country. And this is how people find wherever they want to go, whatever they want to do, right? So we stayed here. So obviously, like, Public Storage is here, Life Storage, these are all the big ones. And when you're kind of out a little bit on Google Maps, like, you're going to see the bigger ones, right? And then you can zone in a little bit more. You could be like, all right, now we're here, right? Now we're in this area. Are there any storage facilities in this area? And you could zoom out and see, like, if there's anything that comes up that's even more. And you see little tiny ones. These are all the mom and pops. These are all the mom and pops. Look at this. And so when you zoom into an area and you look at Google Maps, these ones are going to come up. And these are all basically one owner, or like mom and pop shop. We call them mom and pop shops or something like this. And so, and the way that storage works is there's 50,000 storage facilities in the country. And so that means that there's 1,000 storage facilities per state, roughly. Let's just say roughly. 25% of those, or 20 to 30% of those, are owned by REITs, right? A REIT would be a Public Storage, a CubeSmart, Life Storage, this kind of stuff. Extra Space Storage. Those are all REITs. Those are all hedge funds, okay? And they're all, they're like 20 to 30% in the area, especially in Austin. Austin's more like 30%. Some areas is 20%, right? In a primary market. So you'll see more of those. And then the rest are owned by, like, their we call those mom and pop shops, right? And they're just like, most of them are, just one owner, some dude that just owns a storage facility. And they usually just have owned one storage facility. I would say 80% of all the 70% out there, 80% of those own one. 20% of that number they have 2, 3, 4, 5 plus or whatever, right? There's very few storage facility owners that own like, a lot of storage facilities. But most of them will have one and some will have 2 or 3 or something like that. I rarely ever find anybody that has more than like 3 storage facilities. All right. When you start zooming in to like into Google Maps, then you'll start seeing like you can go and just check these out. And you can even in some certain areas, you can even zoom in even more now and see if there's any other ones. Now remember, see now as you zoom in even more, you see all these little tiny ones. See, we stayed over in this area. And like this one right here and this one right here, like you drive by those and it's just like they're just older storage facilities that are not like, they're not going to come up on Google Maps unless you really hone into that area, right? So if you're like in this area and then you're like storage facility near me, that stuff will come up, right? And so the reason I'm showing all this is because this is one of the main ways that we find self-storage is we go to the area and then we look on Google Maps to see what we can find. And we say, okay, obviously we stayed in this area and we found several, like here's one. We went to all these storage facilities and just checked them out. And actually, however many storage facilities that you see in an area, right, however many storage facilities that you see on Google Maps, pretty much the same amount of those storage facilities are not on Google Maps. Right? And the reason why is because to get on Google Maps is actually quite difficult. I don't know if you guys have ever put a business on Google Maps, but you can unmute yourself if you have a question. I don't know if you can.
Hi.
Yes.
So my question was, the boat storage, isn't that a different sort of category than, no, storage is storage? So people can put their personal in whatever affects with their boat. But
boat, like you see here, like this one right here, this is like boat and RV storage. And then right here, this is camper storage. And everybody has different names for it too. But like
gotcha.
we have storage facilities that have storage like enclosed, like closed control, like climate controlled or non-climate controlled, and then those same facilities also have like boat and RV storage. You'll see you'll see storage facilities that are like that are like enclosed, either climate or non.
Gotcha.
And then they'll have like enclosed boat and RV storage,
right?
And they'll have open boat and RV storage, and then they'll have like maybe halfway covered, and then they'll have like completely open.
Gotcha.
I'm saying all in the same part. In fact, you'll see a lot of storage facilities that have like it'll be like, I mean, I've seen storage facilities, and especially out in the country, like a lot of times you won't see that kind of like in this area. This is a lot of boat and RV storage. This is boat and RV storage, but they do have units. These ones have units, and the thing is you can click on this. And let's see, you can click on it and open it up, and then you can like get all up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you can like with the Google. That's why I love Google Maps, because you can just drop down in there and you can look around and see what they look like. But I'll see like this is like when somebody's got a lot of land, and they're just trying to figure out what to do with it. But I'll see like enclosed storage, and then like maybe some
open, just a lot. Like that's what they have parking down here in South Georgia. It's just a lot.
Where are you at in South Georgia?
Savannah.
Okay, good, because we have all of our storage facilities are in South Georgia.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, but they'll have like storage, like they'll have like regular storage, and then they'll have like boat and RV storage, halfway covered, boat and RV storage all the way covered, and then they'll have uncovered, and then they'll have like an RV park.
All in the same property.
All on the same property. They're like, okay, what else can we do?
Right.
And they'll have like a car wash. It's like, and they'll just, and they'll have some commercial buildings or whatever, So it kind of all just goes together really a lot. I have a student right now that's buying a storage facility. It's commercial warehouse plus storage plus RV parking.
Right.
All on the same property. And it's in Florida. It's like right on like a 3-acre lot or something. So the owner was just like, let's do it all,
Nice.
Well, I like it too. I like that too, because it's like you have the income coming in, and just in case one thing doesn't work for the other, you know, you'll have income coming in.
Yes.
And so,
So, but doesn't a RV park, kind of like a mobile home park, require more infrastructure than the storage?
no, RV parks require less infrastructure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, RV park is just like essentially, I have a piece of land, let me clear it, fence it, and go. I think both of y'all are in Georgia, so we can just talk Georgia stuff right now. But you'll see, like right here, because I live in the North Georgia mountains. Right here, there's a guy. He has, it's called Altoona Storage, Lake Altoona Storage or something like this, and he has 17 acres. He cleared like I think maybe 3 or 4 acres of, maybe 5. I'm not sure. He just cleared it all, fenced it all in, put gravel down. He's got covered parking, and then he's got like open parking, and he has
Right.
like 150 spots,
Right.
and he's a completely full. And it cost him, for that 17 acres, it cost him 200 grand. And then it probably cost, I was calculating, and it probably cost about 250 to 300 grand for him to fence it in, grade, gravel, fence it in, and then maybe do a little bit of covered sport. So he probably is all in at like maybe 500 grand, let's see, for that space.
Yep.
Plus he still has all the rest of the 17 acres. And he's charging $75 a lane. So in parking, you call those lanes. So he has 150 spots that he's charging $75 a month on.
Right.
And all
Right.
he did was spend like $500,000 to do that.
Right.
And he's gonna make that up in like a couple of years. That'll be paid off. I mean, he's making a lot of money, and he's full. I mean, it's just so crazy. That's why I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So that you could totally do. In Savannah, you could do that. Anywhere you could do that. You just have a good piece of property. You just clear, fence, and call it parking. Especially that's what we're gonna do in the boat in the lakes. That's why I came to Texas, and we're gonna do that. I'm trying to find property. Now the only thing is that land in Texas is more expensive, right? It's like $75,000 an acre, like 50,000. If you find something for $50,000 in Texas, like that's a good price. Crazy. Right. Whereas like you can get 17 acres in Georgia for,
Like what he said, 200,000 for North Georgia is more than it is in South Georgia. It's cheaper in South Georgia.
And that's why I love South Georgia. That's why I love South Georgia. Yeah, that's why we're South Georgia. We're south of Atlanta and all the way up in the panhandles where we're at. We're about to start going to Texas. Like we're going to be the southeast. Texas is the southeast is where we're going to be.
Right.
And because we drive because I'm from Texas, and so we drive the 20 and the 10 like all the time. And I'm like, we might as well just like buy some storage facilities on the way and stuff,
Right.
That's kind of how it is. But boat and RV parking, and then we have one facility that we do big rig parking. You can also park big rigs, because
big rig parking.
We do that. We do big rig parking as well.
That's big business.
We do that.
But that's just by the night. That's kind of like a hotel night.
Yeah, well, no, we do it per month. We do monthly because like a lot of places, it's actually in Fayetteville, and a lot of places like they don't let you park your big rig there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like in their subdivisions and stuff like that.
Right.
So this is also huge. So parking is huge. I love parking, and we're going to be doing a lot. We're going to do more parking. We're going to start doing more parking.
I love it.
Yeah. So, but you can see, and then you'll also like mobile home park. You'll find a lot of storage facilities, like a mobile home park, a storage facility, and an RV park. And the owner owns all 3 of them. So essentially mobile homes, RV, storage facilities, and signage. Like those, like all 4 of those, they all kind of like, you'll see a lot of that. And that is all commercial investing, commercial resident, and commercial investing is what it is.
So, and that land is normally zoned commercial to begin with, or you sometimes have to.
It might have to be rezoned in some areas, because mobile home has to be zoned in a certain way, and I'm not sure how mobile homes are zoned. Is that residential? I'm not sure.
No, I think that's commercial.
Is that commercial too? Oh, okay. Because so mobile homes, storage is zoned warehouse.
Right.
And I don't know what parking would be zoned. Like ours is like, we're zoned as warehouses on all of our storage facilities, and some of them we have parking on, but I'm not sure if it's like, if it's only parking, if it would be zoned warehouse, or it might be just commercial. I'm not sure how they do that. And it probably just depends on the area too as well. Have to ask them. But
So
like
on your parking facilities, then people are also bringing various kinds of recreational vehicles, like a boat or a jet
boats,
ski.
yes. If you're living near a lake, like here, all these ones, these boat and RV parking
Yes.
that we saw, they have like jet skis. Now up in New York, like I have a student right now that's building one, and they're doing snowmobile parking.
Right.
See, so like whatever you park, I guess you just park whatever you need to park, you just park.
Yes.
But that's how it works. That's how it works. So what we did is like, and I'm showing all exactly what we did is we just basically, I said, we're going to just travel around and look for, what we do is we look for the hidden market, which is storage facilities that are not on Google Maps. Now there are storage facilities on Google Maps that you may want to buy, but the good ones are the ones that are not on Google Maps.
Right.
Okay. So you would get in here, and then you would be driving around. So we are driving around and looking, and we're driving all through here and trying to figure out like where we can find some. What you could also do, and the way that I do it is I just do satellite imagery, because as you're driving around, you'll be able to tell if it's a storage facility when you're driving around. It's really easier if it's two people in the car.
Yes.
But like, so you'll look and say like, oh, that looks like a storage. Like, here's like a storage. That does not look like a storage facility to me, because that's just like a big building. But storage facilities just look like, long, skinny buildings. Most of them, you know what I'm saying? So when you're driving around, like here's a storage right here. This is a typical looking storage facility. Easy lakeway storage.
Yes.
And they look like just like skinny buildings. Like he's got parking.
Yes.
So satellite imagery is really good. He's got parking in the back. He's got one long unit, and then he looks like he did this he probably had this. He had this whole property. He built this, put some parking, and then he was like, all right, I'm making some money. Let me put some more facilities here.
Yeah.
I did that like that, so, and that's like a typical looking storage. And see, we drive down and here's some more storage here. Here's Store It All. And I'm not sure if all this is owned by the same person. It looks like it might be a different one. I'm not sure. But this is all the same. I'm not sure. But here's a storage facility, and then here's a storage facility. And it might be all owned by the same one. But like you can tell, like once you really start getting into this, you can really tell what storage facilities look. I got so good at it. I mean, so we drove around. We drove from we were there 15 days. I kind of planned it out like every other day or every couple days to go like driving for stores, because like it's a lot of work. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
But we drove all the way up in here. We went everywhere. We went all through here. We went up in here. So if we go over here to this area, you see, and then you search in this area, it doesn't come up unless you get really get in there. So like here we went to these Paces, we went to Briarcliff. Now when you go into Briarcliff, let's see, and you start looking for storage, let's see if we can find some. I'm pretty sure that in Briarcliff we found a couple of storage facilities that were not on the map. Yeah, see, like this one, I'm pretty sure this is a storage. Let's see. Go through and you just start looking. I really liked this area too.
So you're kind of doing this search on the map while you're driving.
I'm just, a lot of people plan it out, but I don't. I'm just kind of like, I just kind of wing it, honestly.
Yeah.
But here's the one that came up on the map. This is Briarcliff, and then there was a couple of others that came through. Once you get in there and start looking, all of a sudden you're going to start finding them.
And so when you do this driving, you collected all this information, and then you're going to come home, get a list.
Well, actually, the way it works is if we really, like, if we find a good one, I'm like, this is a really good one. I want to buy this one. Like, I'll just call them up right then and there. Because guess what? If there's a sign, then they can just, the phone number's on the sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you just call them up. So a lot of times I'll just call them up and be like, hey, you're interested in selling.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like here's this page. This is pace has been we drove in through here and we found this one. So we drove all through here. And yeah, like here's this one's not on, but this one might be the Austin. This one, but this one right here doesn't have one on here. And there's like so many, I'm telling you. We found, so we drove 5 days out of a 15-day vacation. And we stopped along the way and got lunch. And one time we stopped at a swimming hole. We just kind of like, we didn't make it like a big deal, but
Sure.
it was like a vacation. And we drove, and for 5 days we drove, and we found 150 storage facilities.
Yes.
150 storage facilities, like a ridiculous amount of storage facilities.
So
And
you're just like writing them down?
I write them down, and then, but no, I don't write them down. I take a picture of them,
Right.
and then I keep, and I take a picture of it, and I take a picture of the sign. I take a picture of the area. I kind of think, because you can also, when you take a picture, you can open it up and look at the location.
Remember what it was, because there's so
Well, you remember, no, but like if you take a picture, like on my phone, you can open that picture up and it tells you your location, like your satellite coordinates. So if you're like, oh, where was that one? Then you can always just pull it up and it shows you the location of that picture.
Yes, yes.
You see what I'm saying? So we do that, and then I save them. We actually just save them right on our phone into Google Photos. And now I'll show you. I went to Google Photos. So Google Photos is backed up on our pictures are backed up to Google Photos on our phone. And then we just create a folder in Google Folders, full of Google Folders, and then Google Photos. Let me see. Go to Google Photos. Let's see. And then we created a folder, and it was called like Austin Storage Facilities or something. And okay, this is not the right thing. Maybe I went to the wrong place. Photos.google.com maybe. And then we let's see if I can add another account. And then we, oh yeah, I just shared my cookies. Created this folder. Now it's in here, sharing. Is it a sharing folder? Yeah, I shared it with my husband. Yeah, here it is, Austin Storage. And then we just put all the pictures that we took, we put them into here. And we take screenshots. See how it's a screenshot of the location and everything?
Yes.
Here's the sign, right? And then you could just and then even the pictures of the facility, so I can remember, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, that's it. Okay, that's what it looks like, Like here's a storage, it's called Bay Auto Wash. It's a car wash up here, but then on the back there's storage. So we take screenshots of everything. And so that way we can remember, like I can see the address. It's on 2222, and then the address, you can remember the address on your picture, right? So we kind of do that as well too. And so that's all here with the signs, and we put everything into the folder is what we did. So I could just remember. And then we come back, we take all that, and then we put it onto a master sheet. And the master sheet looks like this. Emily. And it looks like this. Okay.
Gotcha.
See, it looks like this. And then we just link this is the Google Photos. So we can anytime that we need to look, we can just look at the pictures like, oh, which one was this one right here? And this is what it looks like. So there's a tab that says Austin Storage. and then all the names and the phone numbers, and then we're going to start calling them. So we just got back this Sunday, and we'll start calling them and seeing if we can get a hold of any of them. See if they want to sell. We're going to send them a letter. We're going to, we'll call them, we'll text them, we'll leave a voicemail, and then we'll also skip trace them. We'll start skip tracing as well too, and get their email address and emailing them as well. So like we just hound them until they're like, leave us alone, is what we do. So that's kind of how we keep track of it.
Is your VA creating these spreadsheets?
Yeah, my VA, actually my office manager, she does this. So I'll take the pictures, put them in the Google Photos, and then I'll just share that with her. And then she creates, now she doesn't call them or anything. But
yeah, she's just creating your data sheets.
She's creating the data, she's managing it and organizing it for us. So then we can get through, we could just call everybody.
Nice.
Right? And we'll talk to the owners and we'll just see, like, we'll just call everybody and see if they want to sell. Now, the really good ones, some of them I'm like, look, let's just call them right now. And we'll call them right when we're in front of the storage facility.
Right.
And then we can get them to, sell to us right there. So I was like, I'm in Texas. I might as well see if anybody wants to meet me, and then I'll just call them right then and there. But essentially we spent 5 whole days driving from literally Hudson Bend all the way around, all the way up through here. We went to Marble Falls. We did a Horseshoe Bay, all the way up here, crossed over to the big, did Kingsland, came in here to the Lake Buchanan area and did all this, and then drove, and we did this, then we drove through here and all this area as well too. So, and
nice, a lot of lakes.
That says it's a lot of water, and I really wanted to just kind of get a feel for, like, I was just basically doing market research is what I was. I was trying to think, like, okay, where, who, what, when, where, what should I buy, where? And like, I think, if you start looking around, if you start just kind of zoning into Google and searching this way, you should be able to find, see, there's a whole bunch of stuff when you get closer and closer, and especially in these little tiny towns. Like these towns, they look kind of big, but they're like little tiny towns. I don't know how big Burnett is. You can Google it, Burnett, Texas population. Burnett. I don't know, it's 6,000 people. It's not really too bad. It's not really too bad, actually. You can buy like really good storage facilities, like that are kind of like cheaper in this area.
So if you're assessing this little small area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 storage, and you got 6,000 people. That's a storage per 1,000 people. Is that about right?
Well, you have to calculate total square footage of storage divided by the population.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So it's population divided by total square footage, and it should be like 6 to 8 square feet per capita.
6 to 8 square feet. Yep.
Per person or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you could do that and calculate it that way. And then even in Bertram, they do, even though there's not any here, like they do have storage. Let's zoom in a little bit more and see if anything comes up. Yeah, see, I zoomed in more. Now all these came up. And the more that you zoom in, the more storage was find. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're like, I really want to get into the city, I want to just own something and in Bertram, and you just start zoning and look at that. And you can start looking in, look at seeing what storage looks like. There was a lot of storage facility along this highway. There was a lot, which I think is it's where you need to have your storage, right? So like, here's this one right here. Here's one back here. And then you just kind of look, here's one right here. Could be something. And here's one, definitely here's one right here. This is one right here. I don't know if this is one. These little tiny storage facilities everywhere, right? So you can just kind of get all up in here and look and see if you can find stuff. And then you can map it out. You could really map it out if you wanted to and be like, all right, here's some here. We kind of just drive around and just see what we can find. It's really, once you get into it and start looking, it's really not that difficult, but you do really need to have somebody that's driving and then somebody that's like looking for you. It's like a 2-person team is what it is.
seems like you would, I mean, you're training your VA to, this is kind of an aside, but you're training your VA to do this research. You could sell the research to somebody that doesn't want to drive around. I mean, they could drive around, but that research is valuable.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what we do is like, we drive, I do a lot of driving because I just like to drive. We like to drive, but, we also, like Chris as our acquisitions person, he'll search like this and then he'll call and he'll also drive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just don't have a lot of time to be driving around, but the thing is, I'm telling you that every single storage facility that I've ever bought, it's me driving for storage and then meeting the owners right then and there.
Yeah.
We'll go, like, I'll be driving and then I'll call up the owner and be like, hey, I'm right here. Like, would you be interested? And you're like, I live right around the corner. All these people live right around the corner.
Right.
They do. They all live right around the corner.
Right. Like you said, 80, whatever, 75% of the 80% are all right around the corner.
All right around the corner. So
Yeah.
that's what we do is we focus on the owners that own one facility and live right around the corner from it. And they just old and they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right.
That's who we buy from.
Yes.
Right. And so that's kind of how it works. So I wanted to just go over that and show y'all today, at least give you an idea of how to start looking for storage, right? So you can get out there and start looking for them. Did you have any other questions or anything else before, so you could get started? What are y'all thinking? What about Scott? Is he there? No.
Hey, Stacy. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I had a question for you. You mentioned something. You had a facility where you did truck parking, which seems like a phenomenal idea, particularly in kind of a suburban or I guess even ex-urban area. How do you price that, and what
Competition? Call it
Just look
competition.
Okay.
It's called the competition. And actually, the truth is, there's not a lot of truck parking out there. There's not enough. There's one major company. They own like 13 facilities. And they park big rigs. He charges $130 a month.
130 a month. Okay. Is he?
I don't know if he's gone up, but when I called them like a couple of years ago, it was like $130 a month. So I was like, well, I got to be cheaper than $130 a month. And so we started out at $75 a month and now we're at $100 a month.
Okay.
That's just kind of how we did it, really. But they're all, I mean, a lot of people, because like if you, like a lot of truckers, they say that sometimes they have to pay up to $300 a month, like if they can't find something. But the bigger companies like us, like we'll do, something like, affordable. People can afford $300 a month, truckers.
Fair amount, yeah, for that service. I've been approached by some folks that park those trucks for they collect land and do the parking. So they came to me because of some land I had in downtown Austell, and I thought, man, what a service! Because like you said, HOAs are heck on truckers parking their big rigs.
They are. You can't park them there. That's what I'm saying. You can't park in all these subdivisions. You just can't. And so what we do at our facility is we have day parking. So what they do is they come in, they park their car, and then they drive and do their truck. Because we have dump trucks, tow trucks, big rigs, and box trucks. Essentially is what we have. They'll come in and they'll park their car at the day parking, walk over to their truck, get in, drive it all day long, come back, park it, and walk to the day parking, and then drive home.
They basically there's two types of parking that they're doing with you that day. Pay
Yeah,
parking.
we don't charge them for the day parking.
You don't charge for the day parking. Okay,
that's just free.
Yeah.
We charge $100 a month, and then they can just run their business like the dump trucks. We have one guy has 4 dump trucks. He runs his business out of that's where he parks his dump trucks.
Smart.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And tow truck, we have a tow truck company too that they run their business out of our parking. They just park their tow trucks there, and then everybody comes to get their tow truck. They do their rounds or whatever the day, and then they just park it and go to work. Go home.
Nice. Nice. And you mentioned your places are in South Georgia. What attracted you to South Georgia to
Price.
start with? Just price? Okay. Okay. Maybe
Well, I mean,
older.
the thing is with commercial real estate investing is that it's income based. The price is income based, but the cap rate changes. So the cap rate is more like you have a lower cap rate in a primary market, and the cap rate gets higher and higher as you go out into the country. And we buy like dumpy facilities that, just have like super horrible cap rates. But what we do is flip them and get them to like 20+% cap rates. And it's really hard to do that in a primary market. It's easier because you don't get any discount in a primary market. You're buying it at a 6 cap or a 7 cap, and that's it. I mean, you can't, like in a primary market, you can't sell anything for an 8 cap. You're buying it at a 4 or 5. People are happy when they buy it at a 4 cap and they can sell it at an 8 cap. But they're buying stuff of millions of dollars. So maybe a 4 to a 7 is like, maybe it's a little more money.
Yeah.
So in a tertiary market, you buy it at like a 2 cap and get it to like a 30 cap. I mean, I have storage facilities that are like 25% cap rate.
Wow.
Yes. But it's like 200,000 up to, like, we have one that we bought for 250 and we're selling it for 950. It's like a 27% cap rate, that thing. I'm saying for us. Now we're selling it an A cap is what we're doing. But so like, we'll make 600 grand on that property. Now, you may maybe make more if you buy it at a 4 cap and, or buy it at a 6 cap or whatever. I'm not sure, and bring it to a 7 cap and then sell it at a 4 cap. I mean, I just don't get that whole primary thing. It's like, why would you want to do that? Like, why not? I don't know. But they have a lot of money to waste, so whatever.
Yeah, clearly money is no object.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't understand. Like, you'd spend millions of dollars to buy a property and make $100,000. I mean, make $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you could buy something for 200 grand and make 600 grand. So why spend millions of dollars? You could just go out and leverage that money and do the same thing, but then you have to manage like a whole bunch of different properties. So it's really just preference. We buy smaller facilities that are probably between 100 and 150 units. And then we just hold on to them and just like, make them, stabilize them is what we do. Whereas they're just buying in primary markets, you're buying it for that income, that monthly income with a little bit of appreciation. We have no income in the beginning with a lot of appreciation on the back end.
And do you find that you have the demand for parking boats in these tertiary markets that you're talking about?
So much demand.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And especially now because people are not traveling and they're just like tired and like everybody's buying boats and RVs right now.
True.
They are. I'm telling you, it's like a madhouse. And so now they're all buying all this stuff and then they're like, shit, because we just bought an RV. We just got one.
Oh.
We're like, where are we going to park this thing?
Right.
We have storage facilities, right? But we're like full. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have to run out of storage with a unit just to park this thing. We own 1,000 doors. So I was like, we need to go buy a storage facility fast where you can park our RV. Isn't that funny?
That's funny.
That's how people are right now. Everybody's buying RVs, everybody's buying boats, everybody's buying jet skis and snowmobiles, and because like people don't want to leave the country, they're scared still to leave the country. So I think internally travel, recreational stuff is just going to get bigger and bigger for the next couple of years.
Yeah, until they get that all sorted out with the country to country thing. So
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity. But you don't want to go to a lake. Like we went down to Lake Canyon Lake. Let me show y'all where this is. So we drove all the way down to, I see, what was it called? The Canyon Lake, I think. Yeah, so it's down here. Yeah, Canyon Lake. We drove all in this area right here. Too. I was like, let's just go. We literally drove like all through here, all through here, all through here. And we went to Canyon Lake. And it's so funny. Like there is a ridiculous amount of boat and RV storage at Canyon Lake. I'm guessing in this lake, there's probably 100. It's like so many. And so that is like, that's too much for me. I'm not even gonna invest in that area. I was like, no, I'm not going there. But then it's like so weird because like you come up here over here and there's hardly any boat and RV storages here. Hardly any in this area at all. Like there's a lot here, but coming out from here to here, there was hardly any at all. And these are big, huge, massive lakes that people go to and fish and water ski and all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in this one. And that's why I wanted to drive and just make sure that this would be a good area to focus on versus like, Canyon Lake down here in this area. I was like, where are we going to go? We're going to just stay kind of in this area is where we're going to stay. And actually this area was really good for like just storage facilities because Austin's kind of moving out to Dripping Springs right now. And it's kind of moving out and it's coming this way as well too. So really Austin's going to come out to kind of this area. So any investment in this area right here, that's going to be a great investment. Anything in this area right here, this little area right here, this is going to be booming in the next couple of years because Austin is just one of the fastest growing cities in the country right now. But it's expensive to invest there. So it's just like, you just got to figure out that area. I mean, let's go to Georgia. I said, we tried really hard to buy storage up here in the north. And it's just a little bit too expensive up here in the North Georgia mountains. I mean, up where you're at, because I know you're kind of where I'm at, Scott. Like it's expensive up here. Like this is 7 cap. This is a 7 cap up here. Like to find something that's like all up in here, to find something, this is where everybody's moving to, so it's really expensive up here, really kind of, because we're here, that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, all this area, and even over on this area, Brazelton and Commerce and Whiten and all this area. But this is a hard area. It's very expensive. And I'm just, super cheap. I like to buy really cheap property that I know I can get really high cap rates on. I'm not income producing at all and mismanaged facilities. That's just how I am because, I'm just a rehabber at heart because that's what I've been doing. So I need to buy super cheap properties that we can fix up. These are income producing properties up here, or this is new construction. Like if you want to do new construction or income producing buy income producing properties, this is the place to be up here. And I've just learned that over the past couple of years that I've been investing here. And then you come down to the south and you come down here, all this area, and we're all like essentially we're like, yeah, this is our area right here. Like we're kind of all over Georgia, but like this is our area right here. Yeah, this is it. So we're all like through this area, and this is just like this green. This is all, there's no secondary market. I mean, there's hardly any secondary market here. This is all tertiary market. And you can like, we're gonna build a storage facility. And I called up the permitting office and I was like, what's the process for building a storage facility in your area? I was like, I'm going to buy this facility over here in this area by Waycross is where it's at. I was like, I want to buy a facility. I'm going to buy some land and build. Like, what's your process? And I was like, where are you buying that? And it's over here in this property. He says, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, go ahead, you can do it. I was like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, just fill this form. Just fill this form out and you can do it. It was like, it's like 2 acres. I was like, I was like, you mean I can just do it? He's like, yeah, you can do it. You're fine.
That's awesome.
I was like, well, what, is there like setbacks? Like, what's the, like, he was like, how about 10 feet?
Oh, sweet.
If you want to building, especially you're in the area because you're over here by me now.
We
So
need
this,
to send
this
him a
whole
gift.
area, we're all up in this area. That's where all our storage facilities are. We're gonna have a lot of storage facilities in this area. And then we started kind of like weaseling down into this area. We have Valdosta, we have down here as well. And so this you're in the prime area. But the truth of the matter is you could be anywhere. You don't even, it doesn't have to be near you at all. Like our facilities are 4 to 6 hours away from us because we live in Jasper. And you know, and the further away they are, the better. Because what that means is that they become totally passive. Because you can't go over there and do any work to them. You gotta figure out how somebody else can do that for you. And so I said, we just bought an RV. We're hitting the road, Jack. We're going to travel for the next couple of years. Our goal is to buy 10 to 20 more storage facilities in the next couple of years and travel in our RV.
So I guess if you buy far enough away, you can't even get tempted to go work in it.
That's the whole thing. If you're going to invest in storage, make it truly passive income. All right.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That's what we're doing. That's what we do, essentially. That's what we do. That's what I teach. Don't become one of the storage facility owners that I buy from, because I buy from the ones who gets up every day and goes and unlocks their gate. Right? You don't want to buy those. You don't want to become that. You want to become like, a true investor, a true passive, you want to build passive wealth. And they just have one facility and they get up and that's it. Like I bought one guy every day, 7 days a week, he got up and managed that storage facility. And when I bought it, his wife was like, I'm so glad you're buying this thing. You don't do anything except for just manage this damn thing. And it wasn't even a big facility. And I talked to him later, like a couple months, I was like, Thomas, how you doing? He's like, man, the longest honeydew list ever.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's trying to buy it back.
I don't know why I bought that, sold that storage facility. No, all I'm doing is fixing crap up all the time. So, but you don't want to be that person. Yeah. So anyways, it's fun. I do finding and funding. Essentially, our acquisitions person now, I've delegated all that off to Chris. He's our acquisitions person. He finds all the facilities for us. And then I find the money, and then my husband runs them with our team. Our team is Bonnie and Chris, and they are like essentially the office manager and the boots on the ground person. So it's 4 of us running 1,000 doors. That's it.
One of those goes in my car.
That's it. That's all we have. We're like a lean, mean storage investing machine. What we are. All right, cool. What else? Anything else you can think of? Any final questions? I can get you inspired to get out there and look for some storage.
Yeah, what was your formula again?
The total within a 5-mile radius.
Okay.
What's the total square footage of that 5-mile radius, and what's the population of that?
Okay.
So now you have to find the total square footage and the population, which is kind of hard. But that's the formula.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right. Well, hopefully that helps get you started at least. I'll be here next month if you have any other questions.
All right, Stacy. Sounds good. So with your program that you're running, you're helping with finding and funding the facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right? I do have a coaching program. So you could always check that out if you want to check it out. I don't really pitch it, but if you want to check it out, you can go to stacyrossetti.com. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, cool. I'll see you guys next month. Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Stacy. Take care.